Hello, this is Daniela with Nomad's View and ROLLaROUTE, and we are on our way to the Pont du Gard, to the Roman aqueduct, and I will give you a guided tour there, and we will spend about half an hour there, and I hope you will enjoy it. And I am on my way biking there. This is me, so I will be meeting you here. And now we go on our ride, and I thought because it was so windy, we rather go on a musical bike ride. So we have about 30 kilometers to go. Enjoy, and see you, hear you over there when we arrive at the Pont du Gard. Pont du Gard, and so I don't know if you can have already a glimpse. You see there's something behind. What you see over there is a beautiful cafe, also very nice area here. So I like to come here, and when I come with my groups, we stop here and we have a cafe or something like that on a beautiful terrace. And then we make our way over the bridge, and I'm gonna do that. Here it is. Okay. Welcome to the Pont du Gard again, and we get our bearings. So here we look at the Gardon river at the beach down. Here we look to our left to the cafe that I pointed out before, and we see the rock there far ahead. This is a really pleasant place. We walk under plane trees. And now we make our way a little bit closer, and we're gonna stop on the way again and have a little bit of look, yes, as said, of our surroundings and get an idea a little bit. So we are at the Pont du Gard. Pont means bridge. Du Gard is in reference to the Gardon River, so we have a look now at that now. The Gardon River, it's a relatively short river, the Gardon. It's about 130 kilometers long and runs into the Rhone River, actually. You see there are people kayaking, so summer joy, the last days of vacation time in 2020. And du Pont, and here you get an idea, so from the one to the other side, it's spanning over the Gardon River. And it's actually a little bit misleading though, because this was not built as a pont, it was not built as a bridge, but we are looking here at an aqueduct. So it led from the one side over to this side here where you see, and it runs actually directly into kind of the hillside, and continues then, this aqueduct continues on also on land. So you see there, it would run into the rock, actually there, up there, yes. So there you have a tunnel then through the rock and then further on upland, but I can show you that then on the other side. And so this is just a short 450 feet long stretch. It's probably the most dramatic stretch that we have worldwide as far as talking about a Roman aqueduct. This aqueduct altogether was 50 kilometers long and brought water from the source of Uzes, which was quite famous already during Roman times, and brought it all the way to Nîmes, which was one of the very, very important cities during the Roman colonization that has happened here in Provence. And
So very, very important water source for the city that needed, of course, a lot. We know that the Romans love to have running water in their houses. In the rich house, they have their bath, of course. We need a lot of water, the bath, the public bath, the private bath. We need a lot of water for irrigation along the way. So very, very important, very much looked after. This is an engineering masterpiece that people have visited through the centuries, and we are very, very lucky that we have that still. It was built in the 1st century of our time, and it was used most probably up until the 9th century. Nevertheless, so what that means, after the fall of the Roman Empire, it was still used, but we are not sure. We don't have any documentation, but we have a lot of documentation that during the Roman times, and how much people, Romans and people from the area, have enjoyed the beauty and the power and the structure of this building. I would say impressive is probably a word that is very well applied here for the Pont du Gard. And it is a play, I would say, it is a play of strength and lightness at the same time. Strength because of the robustness of the stone that we will see in a second when we get closer, but lightness also, which will become very clear once we will turn around also again, and we see this beautiful bridge floating in air. And it's a game, it's a reaction between strength, material, and space between the arches. The arches, we're gonna have a look now as we are going a little bit closer. Now, the arches are of exceptional size. We don't have any other building or aqueduct that has sizes like that. So we have the lower arches. They have a width of 75 feet. While the middle one, next to the ones where we walk to next to, have 45 feet, and the upper one, so that seems so small, and this is where on top then the water actually runs. I explained that to you. They have 15 feet large size, so this is quite impressive. And while we get closer slowly, let's just think about why we still have this structure. Because we have to thank actually Napoleon III in the middle of the 19th century, who prevented the Pont du Gard to be torn down, as many other structures, Roman structures too. People did not appreciate it all the way, but he did. And so thank you, Napoleon III, the nephew of Napoleon Bonaparte. We look up to the canal actually where the water ran. So everything is structured, but the water ran above the 3rd row of these arches. And that is all. And it seems just little, but nevertheless, don't forget that it tricks our eyes. So here we have still 2 meters of canal up there. And it is very, very well protected. So we have recipes of how it was made waterproof, because don't forget, so this is porous limestone that we have up there. So we have covers, we have stone slabs on top, but at the same time, Plinius tells us that we have a material that is a mix of wine, of concrete, figs, and pig fat that would made it waterproof up there. And so rather very an engineering masterpiece really, plus then with a lot of trial and error of different chemical reactions. Of course, we wear masks here. We are recommended to. We are at this time not forced to wear masks in the outside, but it's very much recommended. And now we have arrived on the bridge that I was mentioning, that is now about 200 years or a little bit more even now, leaning against it, that was built to facilitate better access over the bridge. During the Roman times, people, and also in the centuries before, so for 1,000 years, people would walk actually on top, and also on the sides of the pillars that you see, there was a little bit space, but it was very difficult and actually put a lot of damage onto the building also. So because people just hugged out a little bit of the stone to walk next to it. And we're gonna head over to the other side now, because I would like to go up then the hill with you. We half puff up. We have arrived on the other side, and now we're gonna go up, and it gives you also, we walk next to the arches, it gives you a great feeling of the size and the immensity and the engineering of the building. And then we have a look at the come with me, we can do it. We take our time, we have all time. It's gonna take us, we have another 25 minutes or so to go, But so you will see. Let's have a rest and turn around. Beautiful. Now we have a better light, and you see again in the golden light. It's about 6 o'clock in the afternoon, so we get our golden light of Provence. You have some visitors. We see some limestone as we are having it here on the ground. We walk through greenery that is very indigenous here. So like we talk later about it, but for now we focus, really we should. So here what you see closely also is, this is a dry stone construction. So what it means is there's no mortar, there's no concrete used. So the stones that could weigh up to 6 tons were put one above the other. Where's the quarry? The quarry is just about 400 or 500 meters away from here, and we do believe that these stones were all prepared actually in the quarry there, then numbered, then brought here, because we have some of the slabs with numbers, and then put together like a puzzle, we can say. We have arrived now almost up there, and we're gonna turn around. We're gonna have a short break, and I show you now. So once we get up there, yes, so here I'm gonna turn around. You will see the entrance, the water entrance. Yeah, so we are now on top of the 3rd level pretty much. There we go. So on top where it's closed, not where the door is, but on top, that's where the water ran. And the water would come from this side here where the people are. So there you have to continue the aqueduct, and you have to imagine that the water ran above land. We have only the 3rd row of arches, and then on top of it, above the buoy, that's where the water would then continue running. And let's just get a little bit closer. I think his dad is done with the photo. And so here we see a staircase, and that would lead then up into the canal, actually. You're up and above there. Now we are a little bit on the side, and what I want to show you also, and this is quite fascinating I find too, is this graffiti. I was saying that the bridge was visited through all the centuries, really, so particularly through the compagnons, or the Mason compagnons that are on their France tour, that come from all over Europe, the world. We could even say back then at the time it was not a consciousness. So these are graffitis scratched, hint the word graffitis, graffito, scratched into the monument. The latest one is from 1940s, but most of them are from the 1900s. And so to leave their trace, to show I was here, I have learned, I have seen that. It's like when we take a picture today, isn't it? So now here we have 1905, and we sometimes say, how could they do it? The consciousness that we should protect and not damage a historical building is something I studied quite a bit. It is not something we are born with, and if we are not educated that way, we cannot know, isn't it? And so these people didn't know, and we only have this consciousness since the 19th century, later 19th century. I have hopped with you on, and we are now at a great point, and now I would like to have a look with you. And so are you ready? Do you have your cameras? Because this is for me the best view onto the Pont du Gard, onto the aqueduct, and we see the whole stretch in beautiful evening light. So get ready, I'm turning around, and we have a look, and ta-da, there it is. Isn't that something? Always again, it strikes me, it's so beautiful. And I say, cuckoo, here I am. I'm glad to share this moment with you up here. So you see where the water would have come in, and then, so the water, what is impressive to me, the water was gushing through these 50 kilometers long, and there is just a decline in altitude of 36 feet actually. And so the Romans managed to manipulate or to organize this aqueduct so that in a way the flow of the water was consistent all the way through these 50 kilometers. That is very impressive. We have nevertheless 400 liters per second running here through this aqueduct towards Nîmes in the direction we look now. And now we're gonna leave again. I think we're gonna walk back down again, and we're gonna walk through this indigenous countryside, and I'm gonna tell you just a few things about the plants that we see. So here we're gonna get closer to this, what we call the Mediterranean oak. So this is this pointy, needly little oak, has nothing to do with the leaves that we are familiar with. So anything what you have here is kind of shrubby and low maintenance, a lot of needles, a lot of pointy, and yeah, so these are all, we have, for example, then also a lot of the juniper. This is not the juniper tree or bush that we can make gin out of, but it's the other one. Of course, we also grow our herbs in this environment. The herbs de Provence, thyme, rosemary, all these wonderful things are growing here. So, but we're going to do a nature walk at some point if you're interested in that, and we talk a little bit more about that. Now we're going to make our way towards the bottom, back down again, I would say, so through the little forest for a few meters, a little bit in the shade of the trees. So this is kind of nice, and making it all the way back down towards the stairs, and we have some wonderful views. Then the light should be just perfectly, beautifully, and then, oh yes, look, the beautiful shade with the low sun that is coming now. So it's about 7 o'clock. We have to make our way back home, or it's 6:30 back home soon. So heading downwards, quick. And here we have to pick up our bike. So we're gonna pick up the silver beautiful beauty that I'm gonna use for our ROLLaROUTE excursions to go out. So this is my street bicycle, and yes, so we have the city one for the Be Cool rides in the city center, and then this one I'm gonna pick it up, and here we go. We are walking back to the other side. And while we do so, we can have a look at a couple things. I think you can very well from this point also, and in the light, see the holes in the stones, and also the stones that are sticking out actually. So these were stones that were supposed to stay there because the Romans wanted to make sure that at these functional buildings, as this one is, it is an easy to apply to lean against a scaffolding, for example. So maintenance was very big. There was, for example, an office. There was somebody who was always taking care of looking. Oh, there we have a beautiful view down towards the quarry. We're gonna go there with the bike maybe in a few moments for a second. Yes, somebody who took care of the calcification, because that was a big issue, of course, too. The water running for centuries through the pipeline up there, and so there were a lot of calcification for centimeters deep. We know that. And then again, going back to these stones, so these stones are to lean the scaffoldings on, and the holes that you see in the arches, so those were actually the holes where the wooden scaffoldings to build the actual stone or the actual arch was stuck in. So you have to imagine that we have a wooden half round, and on which we build then up our stones. And the idea is we have to think about the idea of the keystone. So the keystone is the stone that is up there in the middle, and that would be the last stone that we have to put in, and from there on, here, yeah, there we have to put it, and then we have our both sides actually leaning against each other, and that makes then our arch stable. So this is quite the challenge, because this arch here, for example, so this is 150 feet wide, and so there was a very, very complex system of scaffoldings built to well, to build arches like that. As said, this is unique. We have normally arches that are much smaller that carry the water pipelines called aqueduct, and so also the invention of machines is a huge thing. You maybe have heard in the context also of Brunelleschi's dome, also Brunelleschi during Renaissance time. So here we talk 1400s, but you need for certain constructions, certain machines, and so the Romans also, we have to give them a lot of credit for inventing a lot of machines. And besides that, we give them credit for this beautiful, exceptional view. So now we are looking back again with the sun and on the shade. So this is where we came from. And but what I would like to do, so we come almost to the end now, I think this could be nice to ride actually underneath the arches now. So that would be neat. Now we get there, you see the wind again. You don't hear it. I hope you don't mind me doing that I save you from that. But let's take the bike and roll underneath this 2,000-year-old structure. So here we go against the light first, but then we're gonna turn around just, and we're gonna have the light in our back, and we have a view on these beautiful, beautiful golden limestones before we leave the site then to go on another ride, to go back home. But I have a surprise stop on the way, so stick with me. Let's go first, and now we turn around and we have a look. And now here we go. Do you see the lower arches, how far they are apart, about 200 feet? Then you see the triangular kind of structures on the columns. Did you see it sticking out? All that is there also to break the current, to make our aqueduct stable, because we have to imagine that the Gardon river actually is not always that empty, but it is very, very wild, and we have a lot of high water often. So all of that is thought through. Now we are coming to the point, we right underneath. Yes, and I love that. We say goodbye. It's time to say goodbye. And here we go. Au revoir du Pont du Gard. I hope you enjoyed it. And I take you now for a couple minutes on a ride through the countryside backwards, but stay. I have a huge surprise for you.
So I just turned off here. There's a chapel here that is called Amant, and I would say it's 12th century, but we can check that. I'm not sure. I saw it a couple times when I came by, but I never stopped. And I thought tonight I take the time to stop, because this is always so beautiful. And I'm gonna put the bike just here. Hello. Against this wonderful pine tree, beautiful barge. And we have a little stop along the way. As said, I'd like to keep my tours spontaneous discoveries too. I'm here for 20 years now, but every day when I go out is something new. So that looks it looks super modern actually. So there's a flat roof. There was an entrance at some point. Let's see. Let's walk around. Here. Oh, beautiful. Why am I saying that? Because I see this entrance and I see remains of reliefs over the door. And they seem to be very simple, geometric. So I would say very early. We have round arches. And so I would say Romanesque. So when we say Romanesque, it depends where we are, but generally we talk about the 11th century, 12th, 13th century, even 14th sometimes here in southern France, because in the north we have Gothic architecture already since the 11th century. But here we cling on the Romanesque, the Gothic architecture, the pointed arches rather in northern. Doesn't mean we don't have Gothic here, but we cling to it. But this is very early, very small window here, so very robust walls, small windows, small openings, round arches. So this is pure, beautiful southern Romanesque style. So inspired by the shapes, round arches of the Romans. So this is the first kind of architecture we have again in Western civilization, one could say, after the Roman Empire. So fortresses as far as secular buildings, and then Romanesque churches. So we see this is quite complex actually. You see down here there's different stones, so I guess this was the beginning, or there was something before, another building before, which was then became part of it, or it was an altar, or there was another church before that, something like that. There's definitely a structure on the ground, then built higher, so natural stones just thrown in. Then we have natural stones, smaller ones you see, and then we have the carved ones like we see them in most of the areas here. And then up there we have again the beautiful geometric but simple decoration going around. So I would guess we are at the apsis here. Oh my god, this is beautiful. Again, very, very small round window. I'm gonna go back. Let's see. So this is located next to the street. I'm gonna stop later on outside of the village of Tézier, Chapel Saint Amant. We find out more, but it's just. And then of course, hold on, let's go here. Isn't it something? Wow. That's a wow moment, at least for me. Let's put that again in context. So you see a little bit with me here. So as you probably maybe know, I'm an art historian. So how I look at a building that I'm not familiar with, what goes on in my mind, what I try to do. First thing is that I can't help but is if it speaks to me. If I like Romanesque architecture, I like also the painting style, early Gothic painting style icons. So we can do, of course, something like that. Also, at some point, come together and we do a little bit basic 101 art history with some of the things we see along our right. So here again, the different styles. So we can read walls. Yes, definitely, they are the witnesses of time. So there has definitely been another building below before. So you see over there, and then we come around here. I realize the light is difficult, but it's beautiful too. Then we have more here. So this is, here you have buttresses. So this is interesting too. And here has at some point probably been a building leaning next to it. So this is when you have these traces here on the outside, and we have these holes. Not sure, was probably some beams put into the building that was leaning maybe against this. Behind me, if I see traces here right now, I see stones, but I cannot say that I see traces of another building, but that could be. And then so here, these are buttresses. I know most of you are probably familiar with the flying buttresses, but these are buttresses. So I'm like, this is when you have a rectangular wall kind of leaning against your outer wall, holding your church together in a way. So I assume, cuckoo, that there was there's maybe some added at the entrance part, so that where we are coming through at the western part, there is maybe some pointed arches. Generally the pointed arches come with it. So you see, this is interesting. So maybe at some point we can come back. So we are having here this huge facade, entrances on the side, which we have often in the earlier buildings, earlier churches. Wonderful. Well, I hope you enjoyed it. Okay, well, that was a quick stop. We have to hurry up to get home. I'm filming still a little bit on the way. I think while filming towards the Pont du Gard, it was not, it wasn't so successful. So I'm trying to give you a little bit more of an idea what we see. And yeah, let's go.
Yeah, so we are riding next to sunflower fields. So they come to the end, these sunflowers. I said it is September now, or end of August. We have quite a little bit of greenery, but nevertheless, yeah, also quite dry soil. And
so here we arrive in the village of Amant. And we are coming up to the medieval city wall, castle on top. You see, these are quite dramatic around. So you see all the different stones. City wall, castle, natural stones. And here we have this quite dramatic bridge leading over to the entrance. I have never visited that. Maybe we should do that at some point.
okay, and we are back on our bridge over the Rhone River. Look at this. So this is direction south down towards Marseille, where it spills into the Mediterranean, coming by the Camargue. And here we look backwards into the Gard, the Occitan region where we are from, down to the south. And here we are arriving now back again in Provence, and in the department, which is your county, the Vaucluse. The Rhone River is about 800 kilometers long and has its source, by the way, in Switzerland, kind of close to Geneva, in that area, in the mountains. And here we look north up, and what you see there, that is Mont Ventoux, one of the famous clients for the Tour de France. And now we arrive already at the end, and we are turning here to the left in direction of Avignon. And I want to stop one more time quick to say goodbye to you and just to show you a little bit something. What we have right now, it is end of August, and we have an abundance of fruits, of course, here. And maybe it's because I get hungry, but I just wanted to end with this beautiful apples in the wind. So we grow apples, melons, a lot of fruits, apricots, nectarines, then vegetables, of course, the famous ratatouille. We should make some ratatouille at some point. We grow tomatoes and eggplants and zucchini and peppers. We don't grow a lot of citrus, but otherwise, I thank you so much, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I'm hungry for an apple now. Yes, and so if you enjoyed it, then feel free to follow the link below the video to the virtual tip jar and PayPal, and or contact me for anything further. So thank you so much for coming with me to the Pont du Gard to discover with me the chapel of Saint Amant, and I thank you. Just come back to the next ROLLaROUTE, and this was Daniela from Nomad's View, and bye. Take good care.